Hello everyone, thanks for joining me today. In today's lesson, we are going to look at EC2 user data in Terraform. Now, what is EC2 user data in Terraform? The user data is a feature that allows you to automate tasks and configure your instances as they launch. Let's look at some of the use cases of user data. User data allows you to install a software. You can also use user data to configure an operating system. You can use it to set up an applications. You can also use user data to run any other automation task you need during instance initialization. Now let's look at what we are going to do in today's lesson with Terraform. Now we are going to launch EC2 instances, and then we are going to provision the user data to install a software at launch time. Now, and then we also use a launch template with user data to also install a software. We are also going to use what we call Terraform provisioners to also install softwares. So let's jump on to the console and get started. So here on my console, I've created 3 different separate files that I'm going to use in today's video. So I want to show you how my networking look like. So this is the VPC that I'm using in this demo. It has 2 public subnets and route traffic to the internet. If I go back here, I also have a security group. So this is the security group that I'm using in this demo. Port 2280 and 443 open. And I also have a key. So make sure you have all of these prerequisites in place. Or you can also use the default VPC and the subnets, and it should work the same way. All right, with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. So I'll go back to my configuration file here. So that's my AMI, that's the subnet from my VPC, I have my key, and then that's my security group. So I'm creating an EC2 instance. Then in this EC2 instance, I want to install Apache and then provision a simple web server, as you see here. So that's my user data. So one way, I've commented this, you can use this line here. You can store the user data in a script. So let's go ahead and run this script and see if we can use this user data to configure this web server. So I'm in my directory. So let me do ls, make sure I'm in the right place. So I'll do Terraform. Terraform init. I'll do Terraform plan to see what will be created. And then I run Terraform apply. Then I'll say yes. So this is going to go ahead and create EC2 and then use the user data to install the software. All right, as this is working, let's move on to the next one. So the next one we're going to look at here is to use a launch template. Right? So in me save this and close that out. Okay, I'll leave that there. Okay, so this is the one with the launch template. So this is done, the one we started. So let me run this one. Let me run all of them, and I will go to the console and take a look at each of them. So the next one here, we are using the launch template. So in the launch template, I have my AMI, I have my key. So these are my network settings. And then I have my user data. So in this example, the user data is in the script. So if you go to my directory, this is the user data in the script, and then Terraform will pick it up and then install that data on my EC2. So here, this is the actual EC2. The first one was the launch template. So in my EC2, I'm referencing my launch template. So whatever data I've specified in the launch template, it will be installed on this EC2 instance. Another way, which I've commented here, is that you can define your user data in a variable and then reference that in your launch template. That will also work. So let's go ahead and run our second code. So I'm going to go here. Then we're going to do Terraform init. So let's do Terraform plan. And then we do Terraform apply. So I'll say yes. Those are our configuration. So as this is working, let's move on to the third one. So for the third one, we are going to use what we call the Terraform provisioners to do this. So let's go here real quick. So here I'm going to create EC2 instance with all the specifications there. And then I'm using this to create an elastic IP, which is a stable IP for the EC2 instance. And then I'm going to use the null resource. So just like if you create an EC2 instance, you can SSH into that instance, and that's what Terraform is doing here. So Terraform is using SSH, using the public IP of the instance, using the name Ubuntu, and using my private key to connect to that instance, like I would do on the console, right? After connecting to the instance, we are using the file provisioner to copy our user data, which is in my directory here. So copy my user data to the temp directory. So that's what this is doing. And then I'll change the permission, and then I'll run the script. So let's go ahead and run our third script. And then we'll go to the console and look at what has been created. Now the difference between the first two and this last one that we are going to do, that we are going to see, is that with this one, you actually see the installation process, right? It's gonna show you on the console because it will first SSH into the instance before it installs any software. So let me show you what is in this one. So this one will update, and then to install git wget on zip and curl, and then install Apache, and then our simple web server. So that's what we are going to see. So let's do Terraform init. And let's do Terraform plan. And let's do Terraform apply. I'll say yes. It is creating the EC2 instance. When it finishes, it's going to SSH into it, copy the file onto the instance, and then install it. So we got to give it about a minute. Okay, so you see that it's doing the update. It's reading packages. Now it's going to go ahead and install all the packages that we have asked it to install. All right, so it's done. So we are going to go to the console and see what has been created. So I've logged into my account. I'm going to EC2. So this was the first one, user data with EC2. This is the last one that we just ran. It's still in process. So let's go ahead and check this one. Let's copy the public IP and see if we can see the web page. All right, so we see that we use the user data to configure our operating system, and now we have our web server installed. Let's try the one let's try the one with the launch template. Let's copy IP address, right? So see here, the IP address here is different from that one, right? So this is the second one. Let's go back. Let's reload the page. See, okay. So this is the one with the file provisioner. So let's see. Right, as you can see, and this IP address is also different. You can see that we've been able to use user data to install packages and web server on our EC2 instance when it was launching.